Alright, so I've been watching Scrapman for a while. Um, and anyway, I've been playing some Trailmakers, and I came up with this. So it like throws this dart, and then it starts to launch with the thruster, and does that. And I'm trying to make it a little bit better. So right now, what I've got is you can kind of aim it, but sometimes it does this where like that's supposed to be turning the other way. As you can tell, that way is smooth, and then it's not because it's not supposed to be going that way. I don't know why it's doing that, but for a little bit it was not great. But I've got it pretty consistent with being able to throw and aim in roughly like that area, like a little bit of a cone, but not too bad. See, it's pretty consistent. Um, so worked for a sec. There we go. Maybe I need to move my seat a little further away. Maybe that's what's getting in the way. But anyways, so it like tosses it up, and then the thruster kicks on like 0.6 seconds afterwards, and then that's how I got it. So for a big part of it, here, I think I have this saved. Yep. Okay. Let's pull this one out real quick. Just delete my blocks. So this is one of the older ones, which I don't know why that thruster was on. This does not seem to be the right one. I thought 2 should have been. Okay, anyways, so as you can tell, this one is not nearly as good as the others. It flips a lot. It's really bad. Partially because that thruster's in the back. Whenever it does throw good, it fucking throws. Or, when it does throw good, it throws real good. But it likes to flip because sometimes the thruster being in the back makes it flip over the front, and the thruster is heavier than the dynamite. But when it stays in line, it flies real nice. So there's that one. I think this might be the first one, and it's just saved weird because the way it was doing. No, it's not. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I don't have the first one saved. But this one has similar issues to the other one, but as you can tell, this one doesn't have the steering servo for aiming, and it also still flips. It's going to flip like that most of the time until I make the change that was putting the thruster up front, because the thruster weighs like 50% to 100% more than the dynamite. But, so there's those. Let's see. So this is one that has, I think it's taller is what I did with this one. Okay, and I delayed the thruster activation on this. So that's where I started with the delayed thruster. But as you can see, that didn't fix the issue like I thought it would. But having that thruster in the back definitely makes it fly further whenever it goes. Or at least I think that's what it is. Also, before I had a version, maybe I can find it in history actually. Let's see if this is it. No, that's not it. This one maybe. No. Okay, so yeah, none of those are really. So it's rocket launcher, blueprint 5, optimal, aimable. Okay. So now let's look at this aimable one. 'Cause I think so. Dang, that was a good throw. Way out there. That's nice. Yeah, you just press W and then you click and it'll toss it. But see, that's what most of them throw likes. So, okay, there we go. So I was surprised I hadn't had one of those happen. Usually, like, it's probably like a 70% chance that something like that happens. But when you get a good throw on these ones, they fucking... When you get a good throw on these ones, they just like fly forever. But sometimes they try to do SpaceX landing instead. Yeah, see, like, I'm getting a lot of bad throws with this. Okay. So then, after that, aimable. So optimal, aimable, and then I got toss dart consistent. This is the best one that I've got so far. And this is the most recent change I made where I put that thruster towards the front. I can't really put it in front of the dynamite, which means I might honestly want to extend back a little further, but honestly it's like, I don't know how big of a deal that'll be. But see, it doesn't like to flip anymore. Now I need to increase the angles on the steering hinge, I think, because originally I did have it set to 90 degrees, but that was too much for whenever the weight was behind it. So let's see how that looks now. Oof. Okay, so it sits pretty well off the ground. Nope. Now with that I need to either speed up the hinge, which it might be at max. Yeah, so it's at max speed. Let's put its strength up real quick. There we go. Look at that. Now we'll see how consistent I can get with it. Holy crap. This is the first time I've thrown one where you can't hear the explosion. But I need to figure out what the issue with the servo is that's happening. Oh, so I'm going to... It's probably too far. Alright. Nope, that was bad. So we're not trying to throw it behind us, so I'll probably need to change the detach thing. But yeah, whenever I do throw it this, like, flies so far. Okay. Okay. Alright, I'm going to now delay this by, let's make this 0.059, see how that works. Alright, that was okay. Let's see if a good launch is any better or if they're a worse launch. Okay, yeah, so that's too long of a hold. So, let's see, let's do just a good old 0.05. .05 seems to be just consistently not great. Hmm. 0.055, enter. Oh, that one's going far. Honestly, let me really quickly just... How do I make myself move faster? Okay, so hold F. Okay, here we go. That's how. Where did it go? I think I lost it. That can't be it. Okay, so it's over there. Is there a way to like reverse? I wanted to see that go. Dang it. So let me see how fast I'm. Okay, that's not a terrible speed, so I'll leave it at this. Dang. That would have been cool to see. So I would attach a camera on it, and that's gonna run on the aerodynamics stuff. I wish, like, okay, so I can start and stop time, but I wish I could make it move slower. Or like focus on the object. Then let me go. Alright, let's go catch up with it. See, like, this is consistently good. This is kind of what I'm aiming for. Being able to have something like that. Thing's about to go boom. Wonder how fast it's moving. That seems crazy quick. I don't get why WASD doesn't work whenever you're in this mode, but it doesn't. So. Let's see. Oh yeah, coming right for us. Alright, so I'm gonna say it's gonna land like somewhere around there, and it's gonna land a little bit in front of us. Okay. So that's crazy though. Way over there, I think that's us. Let's see. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, consistently okay, but not consistently like as far. I want to make the like that less dramatic. Okay, now let's really quickly. So if I just that, alright. Let's change the angle to like 80. Pretty good. See if it's consistent at all. Again, not too bad. Alright, so something I want to do is make this delay a little shorter. Let's put it at 0.3. Cut the delay in half. Because it's triggered whenever it detaches from the so I got a NOR gate that goes to that NOR gate. So whenever it's detached at the detachable block, it'll trigger the thruster. It's not bad. That's pretty good. Bro, that explosion off in the distance is epic. That's crazy. Oh, went hella far. Okay, so I need to figure out how I can make my input a little bit less dramatic on the pull back, but then like full blast on the other. So what I think I can do is this arithmetic. I can go to multiply by 0.2, and then so this in the green one, so green, no, green will have to be that, and then I'll have this feed into there. So now if this works, oh, that one's going forever. And it's disappeared. That's crazy. Oh, alright, that seems pretty good. Okay. So it seems slower. I'm gonna like just put an extra 0 in there. 0, 1. Because I want to be able to like noticeably. Okay, there we go. Interesting. That's the first time it's launched like that. Wait a second. This is some epicness. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. It bent the whole servo. that doesn't bend the servo. So there is definitely a little bit of like issue whenever you just wham it back versus whenever you slowly pull it back. Okay, so now something I want to see is if I then copy that one over and I make it to where negative is the click, then I multiply this by 2, put it into this. Let me just remove those inputs from that. I don't know if that was faster. Let me just kind of going insane with it, just all the way up. So I pull back. Okay, I think that is faster. I don't really know. So. Let's make that detach just a little quicker at like 5.3 instead of 5.5. So we pull back. So there's a lot of like wobble. I don't know exactly what that's coming from. Try it again real quick and see if we can find where it's coming from. So pull back. That one let go early. That one let go like real well and went so straight. Like that was the ideal launch. That one let go too early and it's gonna go behind us. That one let go like a little late. There's so much variance in when it's actually going to launch the way I want it to. Because like there, that was terrible. Oof. That was not great. I want it to launch a little later. Let me put it at 5.4. I mean, that wasn't the best, but it wasn't awful. The other thing that could be cool is like using the power cable and whipping it, but I think those have a little bit of an issue whenever it comes to some of the other things, or some of the higher forces. Alright, so that was a good launch. But also I've been forgetting to save between doing all this stuff. But alright. See, that was a bad one. Let me actually kinda lower this to just a 0.1 delay. See how that changes things. That was a bad launch. That was an okay launch, that's pretty good. So I want it to maintain a lot of the toss momentum, which also, I think, even without that, it should launch pretty well. Let's see, like, not really. Because it's it's letting go too early. So I need to optimize it for without the thruster. Then the thruster kicks on whenever the launch is good. So the launch is too fast. Let's put this at 6. Or 5, 6, I mean. Okay, see, that was already so much better on that throw than the other ones were. Okay, so that's obviously an issue that was from the seat. I caught it. But, so if I'm in this, and I launch it away from the seat. Okay, well, that time it was not very great, so it needs to be a little bit later still. Alright, consistently it needs to just be a little bit later on the detach. Let's try at 0.06 real quick, see if that's too late or if that's not late enough. Seems like not late enough, honestly. Let me see if I can... Yeah, that's way too quick. Alright, let's put this at 0.1 just to see what happens in that. Alright, so that throws it pretty far forward. Not bad. Let's see exactly where in it's launching. Okay, so that's actually not a bad arc. I want it a little bit earlier, so let's put it at 0.09 real quick. Alright, let's see where in the launch that's going. It's not terrible. Like, this thing's throwing as well as what it did with the thruster on some of them. Alright, so let's go 9.5 real quick. That was awful. But I think that was more just like a random issue, because I don't know why it wasn't been good other than that. But that seems too early now. That was a good throw. Huh. See, and now it's like, what happened to all the... Sometimes it gives it like such a good launch. Other times it forgets what its goal was. Like, okay. Let's go back to 0.1 and see if that's consistent at all. Okay, that was too far forward that it launched. That was too far forward. It is consistently too far forward. That was okay. I know that this is probably going to be too quick if I had to guess. But that's kind of where we want it for when the thrusters are going to be in, because the thruster will help carry it further. Let's see how consistent that is. I mean, goes up pretty well, and that's what we're wanting. We're wanting it to go up, and then have the thruster carry it through for a long-range orbital strike, kind of like dart throw. I don't know. Alright, so that seems pretty consistent. Now let's go here and redo that. Okay, what changed? Let's just count that as maybe a mishap. Let's increase that delay a little bit so that it can add to the arc before. Let's put it at 0.2. That did not work. Alright. That's pretty good. Alright. I need to slow down that servo a little bit. Let's see how far this goes. Whew. Alright, so servo. That went off target. That's not terrible. Let me try extending this arm just a little bit longer. Another 2 blocks. Let that thing fly. Yeah, it's about to land. Boom. Pretty good. That thing goes straight up. Okay, it landed over there. Thing left orbit. Alright, I think I got an orbital strike dart thrower. It's fucking crazy. Alright. So, it's definitely letting go consistently too early. So let's increase this to 0.09. That was a little later than what I want it to release. Again, a lot later. I really don't understand why it's being so finicky. Let me change this value to something a little more reasonable. Let me just put it back down at 2. There we go, that looks real good. Let's try it a couple times, make sure it's not coincidence. Oh, That's looking so good. See it, see it, see it, see it. Boom. That's crazy. Alright. So I am going to say that's pretty effective. Ugh. Now, what you would actually do with anything like this, I don't really know, but I think it's pretty cool. I got a little dart thrower. Alright, so let me now make one, or first let me save this. It's supposed to be Z. Probably spelled optimized wrong. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's make it without a thruster. So let's take that out real quick. And I also don't really care for the explosive on this one, so you just go ahead and do that. Carry the rest of this forward. Let's see how this flies real quick. It's probably going to be a little too short, but I want to see what it's like. Thing flies. Oh, the launch was so quick. Oh, that was weird. Okay, so something about that detachable block is not triggering right. So let me actually... That's not what we would call... Alright, so... That is triggering late. Let me now make this 0.7. Consistently late, okay. It's not bad. Alright, that's a little fast. Let's change it to 6. There you go. That's a little late. Alright, so you can tell it's releasing after, it's releasing like, instead of releasing here in this like little bit of this arc, it's releasing in this little bit of this arc. So we need it to be like 5, 5 maybe. No, that's still a little not right. Oh, there we go. Now, if I could add weight, that would be nice. Let me see. In this. So it's only 1 gram or kilogram. Let's not heavy enough. Oh, I was about to say, ooh, no, that's 4. What is the heaviest skinny block? So that's 2.25 for 4. Or is that 1.25? So 1.25 versus 2.25, right? Okay, so I can add that. And just grab that stuff, take it back. That in. Oh, I want it in front. I don't know, we'll see how this works. Let's hope it does well, because I mean it is kind of spread out, but seems pretty good. So now, actually, let's replace that NOR gate because I'm not using a thruster with the Dynamakers. That way I can tell how well it is landing, like if it's landing with enough force to go boom or not. What is the bomb? I don't think it's under combat. Okay, here it is. Dynamite. Wrong lever. That is so interesting that its nose sweeps up and then back down. Like, watch. I'll say that was like a 45. Let me see. So that there's probably 45. That's such a good arc. Let me set this to 45. Yeah, see, like, what was that? Okay, was I wrong with that being 45? I don't get why that changed it so much. 60. Okay, it was a 60 degree. Alright, that was pretty. Now, I'm going to put a camera in its butt. Assume maybe this is why. Why can't? Okay, how do you get the camera to work when you throw it? Because I want to be able to see it after it's disconnected. Okay, so if that's that. I don't know why it wants me to do that. Okay. That's interesting. No. I have to guess that didn't work because it didn't hit thruster. So if I press B. Interesting. What? I don't know. Anyway, I kind of messed around with this for a little while, and it's probably getting a little boring if I'm honest. Like, to watch. I'm having fun. I don't know if y'all would because I've been quiet, so. Alright. That's probably it.